Good evening, everybody. I think it's evening almost everywhere. If you're on the West Coast, it's going to be evening soon. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for 70 years of sharing our hearts, making a difference in the lives of heart patients and their families through ongoing peer-to-peer support, education, and advocacy. I am Andrea Baer, but this is not going to be an education tonight. Tonight is going to be a celebration of us, celebration of our organization, and a celebration of what we've accomplished over 70 years. So the first thing I want to talk about is, we've come together this evening as a tribute to us, but it's going to be a celebration of the magic that is Mended Hearts and Mended Little Hearts. We start tonight with the realization about the 5 people who changed the lives of millions of heart patients and their families over the past 70 years. So let's kick off with here's to them and their legacy.
Greetings. I'm Dwight Harkin, and I'm delighted to have this opportunity to tell you about Mended Hearts and its great development. Back in 1951, when heart surgery carried an overriding fear of dying, 4 of my post-operative patients were sitting in a lounge at the famed Peter Bent Brigham Hospital, now Harvard's Brigham and Women's Hospital, and they were exclaiming over the joy of survival, the joy of being alive. And they talked to each other about how wonderful it would be to have an opportunity, or have been for them, had they had an opportunity to have somebody come and visit them and show them living proof that heart surgery could be successful and one could be happy and well after surgery.
I'm tremendously privileged to be a participant in the whole cardiac surgical kinds of programs, starting before my life when my dad started doing it. And he recognized the value of a patient who had heart disease and then had a therapy for that to go back with the understanding of what that process was and communicate to potential patients who were thinking about proceeding with some kind of aggressive cardiac therapy. And that's always frightening. And patients, we all recognize that your heart's an important organ in your body. And when you have something wrong with it, the idea of having it fixed can be frightening. And so the beauty of the Mended Hearts is that they have gone through this frightening process, and they, with a realistic understanding of what that process is personally, can communicate that to a prospective patient in a way that simply can't be accomplished by a nurse or a pharmacist or a surgeon or a cardiologist. It's just so much more meaningful. You speak the patient's language. And then the beauty of this is that you then begin to realize what a gift you've got. You can communicate, you can make somebody else's anxieties just melt away. You can improve the process, and a patient who believes in their therapy simply does better. I was fortunate to be able to practice cardiac surgery for almost 50 years, and there's no question that patients who understood what was happening and could participate both physically, biologically, and psychologically in the process did better. Then the Mended Heart could communicate that both pre-operatively, intraoperatively to the patient, and post-operatively. The Mended Heart was a major communicator, translator in that constructive, very constructive process. The secondary advantage accrues to the patient who is now helping other people. I was mentioning to Jody Smith earlier that David Brooks wrote a book called The Second Mountain. And the first mountain, he argues, what you do is you build your own pedigree. You go to school, you try and make yourself a more constructive participant in society, and you learn how to live in society personally and selfishly. Then some people recognize that the most gratifying, rewarding, exuberantly happy thing you can do is to help somebody else. And this is what the Mended Hearts know. This is what the Mended Hearts do. And so the Mended Hearts are capable of communicating to patients what the process is going to be, and then showing them the outcome. And there's nothing more gratifying, but also realistic and capable of communicating. I can tell you how I feel if I had an operation, but it's so much more persuasive if I show you how I feel. And so the Mended Hearts have been able to accomplish that. And the wonderful thing is that not only are you helping the patient, you're helping the family, you're helping the surgical team, but you're helping yourself. You're giving yourself the opportunity to help others, which has got to be the most gratifying thing you can ever accomplish. What you're doing is making other people much more comfortable. By doing some, whether you recognize it or not, you're also fulfilling your own destiny, your own participation in life's progress. We see a lot of people who seem to have a lot of material benefits who aren't happy. Mended Hearts are always happy because they're doing something that's valuable, rewarding, but by helping others, they're making their own lives valid. And that's tremendously important. That's the message that I would send to Mended Hearts, because I've watched it happen. I actually was privileged as a little boy to watch it when I didn't understand what was happening at its inception. But then I was also privileged to become a cardiac surgeon, and with almost 50 years of practice, I watched Mended Hearts participate in the entire process, both before an operation or therapy, and then afterwards. And by communicating what the options were and the process was, the psychological stresses of initially recognizing that you've got a cardiac problem, then going through the tremendously confusing various alternatives and options, then undergoing the therapy and then recuperating and recovering from it can be tremendously complex. And to have somebody psychologically holding your hand during that process and helping you understand what the complexities are, what the options are, and what the likelihood of success is extraordinarily helpful to everybody, to the patient, to the nurses, to the surgical team, to the families. And patients who, in my view, have a mended heart as a companion during the process simply do better.
So, do you know that the Encyclopedia Britannica is connected to Mended Hearts? Do you wonder how? Well, would you believe that our journey started with a young man in Iowa reading his set of encyclopedias? Around 1880, Conrad Rex Harkin was born. He lived in Osceola, Iowa. As you can see, Osceola is in the middle of nowhere. Conrad didn't have much to do. After he's married around 1900, he started selling encyclopedias. And since he had little to do at night, he read each book of the encyclopedias and read them and read them and read them. One day, someone who knew Conrad had a lot of book knowledge, encouraged him to take the Iowa Medical School exam. Back then, Iowa didn't require a college education to take the medical school exam. So Conrad took and passed the exam and became Osceola's doctor. Now, as a doctor, Conrad opened a hospital and his office at his office and at home on South Main Street in Osceola. Conrad, his wife, and 2 children lived upstairs. The hospital and office was on the first floor until a hospital was soon built in the city. As an interesting note, the house still exists today and is on the National Register of Historical Places. One of Conrad's children was Dwight Harkin. Dwight, unlike his dad, did go to college. He became a doctor and a surgeon. Dwight joined the Army in the middle of the 1930s. Soon after World War II started, Dwight was stationed in London. So Dwight Harkin began performing heart surgery on soldiers who were critically wounded in battle. This is an actual X-ray of a soldier who was wounded in battle and became one of Dr. Harkin's patients. Note the 2 bullets, one near the lung and one in the heart. Dr. Harkin performed open heart surgery on over 130 wounded soldiers. He did open heart surgery using his fingers to find and remove the bullets. There was no heart-lung machine back then. All of the soldiers that Dr. Harkin performed surgery on survived. Dr. Dwight Harkin soon became known as the father of heart surgery. After the war, Dr. Harkin settled in Boston and became the only heart surgeon in the nation at the time. He knew every heart patient and trained every heart surgeon. Dr. Harkin was the first to have repeated success with heart surgery. Besides being known as the father of heart surgery, Dr. Harkin was responsible for other innovations that we take for granted today. Dr. Harkin thought of the concept of intensive care and opened the first intensive care unit in the nation. He, with his team, invented the first heart-lung machine. The first machine was the size of a Volkswagen, much larger than even the one pictured here. But in January of 1951, he met with 4 of his post-surgery heart patients: Doris Silman, Keith Otto, Alfred Santomassino, and Elizabeth Wilkinson. They discussed how encouraging each other in other heart patients, and they were helping each other. And from their conversations together, they realized how wonderful it would be to help others who would be facing the same experience. These patients said, "It's great to be alive." And Dr. Harkin added, "and to help others." And so in 1951, Mended Hearts was born and has been growing ever since. The growth is evident in the transition of our logos from only bypass surgery in 1954, represented by the little paper or safety pin of the heart, to hundreds of different heart procedures today. The addition of Mended Little Hearts in 2004 to the current logo that represents all of these procedures and the patients who traveled this road to recovery and lifelong heart care. The power of peer support is often underestimated, but can be powerful to all involved. A true testament to this is the ability of Mended Hearts to have changed the lives of millions of heart patients and their families throughout our 70 years. Walking with others through their darkest times is a powerful process that makes us special. Tonight we celebrate and look back at the years of service to others.
Anybody who's going through heart surgery is going through a period of anxiety, not sure what to expect. And that's why a visit from a veteran of the heart surgery, a volunteer who's been trained as well, like a Mended Heart volunteer, is so valuable to our patients and to our family. I mean, they've been there, done that, and they've gone through it. So it has to make a great deal of difference to the person who hears that, hey, you can come through this, you can be hopeful, you can be optimistic about what you're going to face.
Hello, I'm Fredonia Williams, a heart patient for the last 13 years. And so I want to congratulate Mended Hearts on 70 years of providing hope and encouragement to heart patients and their families. I've made a number of calls, emergency calls, during my 13-year journey, and most of those were to 911 because I was either in pain or there was an illness. But the most important call that I've ever made in my life was to a number in a senior citizens magazine that was under the heading support groups. You might wonder, why was I looking for support groups? I saw cancer, I saw Alzheimer's, I saw AA, I saw diabetes, I saw weight control, and then I saw one that said heart disease. I couldn't believe it. I've been struggling for a year and a half trying to cope with the surprise of my life 10 days after my retirement. And that was open heart surgery and a year and a half of complications. So I called the number in that magazine. And this gentleman answered, and he said, I'm with Mended Hearts. And we're a support group for heart patients and their families. And we provide encouragement and support. And I said, are you a local group? And he said, yes, we have a chapter here in your hometown. And he said, why don't you come to one of our meetings? And I agreed to do that, not really knowing what I was getting into. He said, I will meet you at the front door. So I went to the first meeting, and this gentleman met me. I had seen the gentleman and some other ladies in the red jackets in the hospital, but it was such a difficult time that really didn't matter to me. I had 2 pillows. I didn't know where they'd come from, and I found out they came from this gentleman. So I spent the first night of my Mended Hearts career sitting and listening to other people sharing their stories about how they had managed to get their life back on track. And my life was a mess. It had been a year and a half. I had not driven. I was still having complications. I was still having problems with my meds. But I found a forever family in that support group that night. And so I am very pleased to congratulate Mended Hearts for giving me back my life. And as a result, I'm the former visiting chair. I'm also the former Southern Regional Director. And currently, I'm an Assistant Regional Director for the Southern Region. So Mended Hearts, thank you, because I made the most important phone call of my life to an organization that supported heart patients and their families. I wish you many, many years of success. Thank you.
Many of our patients are worried and concerned about themselves or their family members, and to have a Mended Hearts person come into the cath lab and put the patient at ease is just really a fantastic thing for our patients. Not only have I seen this firsthand as a physician with a myriad of patients, I've also seen it with my family members. My dad, my father-in-law, my mother-in-law all had cardiac catheterizations and then went on to revascularization. And the cath lab program for Mended Hearts has just been a godsend for my family and for all of my patients. It truly is one of those matches made in heaven.
So as we reflect tonight on how we are changing the lives of people, it's important to realize that all of us across the nation in our chapters and groups, big and small, are making a difference in the lives of others. So now let's hear from some of our chapters and groups on how they feel about the power of peer support.
Hi, I am so happy that I can come here and share with you what I went through when I knew I had to have open heart surgery. I was scared. I really was scared. I didn't know anyone who had ever gone through that. Only I had my faith and I had my family, and that meant a lot to me. But I just needed to know what's going to happen when I go into surgery, and I wanted to know what was going to happen when I came out. So when I met with the surgeon, we had a lot of discussion, and he said, "Is that finished?" I said, "No." I said, "I hate to take your time, but I have more questions." I said, "I have to know what's going on." So he told me what was going on, a little more detail in the surgery. He told me what the statistics were, and I had to take that because it was what he was telling me, and I knew he knew. So then I had a couple more, and he listened to everything I did, and I was so pleased because I went into surgery. I was able to have 2 operations at the same time because I needed my gallbladder out. He said, "We can't do that." I said, "If you can, I want it done." He came out and told my family I did so well after my surgery. I was able to have my gallbladder taken out. And I'll tell you, the story gets wonderful further on. I was visited in the hospital by someone that was a Mended Hearts accredited visitor. And he said to me, "Hi, I'd like to visit with you." I had one of my sisters in the room with me. And I said, "Do you mind?" To my sister, she said, "No." He came in, introduced himself, and told me that he was a heart patient. And I said, "Well, that's great." I said, "Because I need to know what's going on." He said, "Well, I'm going to tell you." And I said, "I only wish I knew someone like this prior to having my surgery, and I wouldn't be maybe as scared as I thought I was going to be." So he told me all about this organization, Mended Hearts. And of course, my heart was being mended, so I knew it was going to be good. He told me that he was a heart patient, and he also was a diabetic. Well, I had nothing else wrong except that gallbladder that had to come out. So he told me what he heard when he was visited in the hospital, and he wanted to become a visitor. That's why he was present in my room that day. So when I got through talking to him, I was so delighted that we had the conversation. And he said, "Well, I hope I didn't keep you too long." I said, "No, I wish you could stay longer, but I know you probably have something you need to do." So when he left the room, I told my sister, "That's what I'm going to do when I get well." I said, "I'm not going to sit home and not do anything." So I think it took me about maybe 3 months before I was able to get out and look up Mended Hearts in Houston. We had one chapter, that was chapter 38. I went to the meeting probably the next month after I talked to him, and I've been going to meetings in Houston. All this time when we were in chapter 38, we had 6 satellites, and I went to 2 or 3 of them each month. So then they talked about they were having training. And I thought, well, I think that's what the man told me. He had to be an accredited visitor. So I approached it, and I want you to know, I went ahead and took my training. That November, I started visiting patients, and I have never stopped.
Peer-to-peer support gives an unspoken understanding to patients and their families. Walking the journey of heart disease, no matter the age, is terrifying. Knowing others have walked the journey makes it not so lonely. The encouragement you can get from your peers is sometimes the strength you need to make it to the next step. Through Mended Little Hearts, I have found friendships that will last a lifetime. The support we give each other is an understanding of living life with a congenital heart defect. I have the best support group of fellow heart moms. My son has many heart friends who he can connect with. My heart healthy kids have siblings they connect with. Dads can connect with the dads. Those connections are the most valuable, so we can support each other in the times of needs. Congratulations, Mended Hearts, on 70 years.
So I think chapters and group meetings help patients, parents, and caregivers. I think aside from all of the wonderful programs that we do throughout the whole organization, is the magic is that we show up, because we're there to be non-judgmental. We're there to be present and to validate and to accept and reassure and support. And because we aren't the medical providers, we're not giving parents scary news, or you don't have to take their child out of a room and away from them and make parents feel very anxious. We just get to be there for them. And I think that that's really the most important thing about our meetings, is we just show up and we're there.
I'm going to tell you about peer-to-peer support. This gives patients a chance to talk to someone who's been there and done that. And I'm sure a lot of you have been there, done that. We serve as visual evidence that things are going to get better. We give them patients educational materials. The Heart Guide, that's loaded with some good stuff. I usually see patients at the hospital about 4 days after surgery, and they're hurting. I ask them how they're feeling. They talk about the pain. So I ask them, how do you feel? You feel like a train hit you? And they say, yeah. And I tell them, well, don't worry, tomorrow it's gonna get better. It'll only feel like a bus hit you. And I tell them, the point is, it's gonna get better a little bit every day. And that usually brings a nice little chuckle from them. I'm in awe of the founders. Dr. Harkin, back in 1951, gathering 4 patients together, he got it. He recognized the power of shared experiences. Chapter 38's been doing that for 60 years. Now look back at our chapter founders and the very early days of heart surgery. And that was groundbreaking stuff back then. And they had patients coming together to share and comfort each other. Those guys got it. So my best advice for everyone is to be flexible, be ready for change, because stuff happens. And look at COVID. Don't forget the families, the support. They're the support when we're not there. That's our strength, not just patients, but also the families, the support system at home. This heart adventure takes everyone along for the ride. Congratulations, 70 years for you guys.
Hi, my name's Amanda Stewart. I am a mom to a child with tetralogy of Fallot. He's now 10, so I've been doing this for a while. I'm a member of the Pittsburgh group, which is Mended Little Hearts of Southwestern PA. I'm the visiting and leader coordinator for our group. And I'm also the central regional director for Mended Little Hearts. So I'm going to talk to you about how amazing our groups are and why. When Kyler was first diagnosed, I didn't know what to do. I wasn't sure who to reach out to. The doctors gave me a lot of clinical explanations, but I had no clue how I was going to get through this. And it was really scary. And I ended up finding Mended Little Hearts of Southwestern PA and was put in contact with some other heart parents that, through this parent matching program that we do through the support groups, allowed me to have people talk to me about what I was going through. Now, not everyone's experience is the same. They absolutely do vary, but it was really great to have somebody to talk to that actually knew what I was going through. And I think that that's one of the key points of the support groups that we have. We've been around for a really long time. And the reason being is because people need support. And when you're looking for this type of support specifically for whether you're a parent, a grandparent, friend, sibling, Mended Little Hearts encompasses everybody that is affected by a CHD. And I think that that's really important too, because I could talk to my mom, who's a grandmother to a CHDer, but you know, she didn't have the same experience as me as a mother of a child with congenital heart defects. So I feel that our groups are important because it's just someone who has been there, they've done what you've done. We find really great ways to relate to people, and you feel like you're just a part of this group. And it's a group that you would never ever want to be a part of, but once you're there, you are really grateful to have us. One of my hair-raising, chilling moments was when I went to my first conference, which was down in Orlando in 2015. And I walked into this room and I looked at all of these people that were around, and it was Mended Hearts and Mended Little Hearts. But when you're looking around the room and you realize all of these people have had some type of experience that's similar to yours, and you're a part of this movement that is there to help parents and families and friends and the patients themselves while they're dealing with this congenital heart defect. And it's just really empowering, and it's very, it's, I know it's such a cliche word, but it's amazing. You feel supported and surrounded with really great people that can help you. And I feel like that's one of the biggest reasons why the groups are that important. I'd love it to see one day that we have one everywhere so that no mother or father or family is caught off guard by a diagnosis like I was. I had no clue kids could be born with heart defects. Didn't make sense to me. And now, of course, I understand better, but I really wish that I could have known something before. So by having these groups, supporting each other, raising awareness, that's what makes us tick. And I feel like that's the best part.
I think that the meetings, they help by giving other families an opportunity to meet and connect in person. And, you know, they are able to share their stories with each other and meet other people that they can relate to. And also with Mended Little Hearts, it's important for the kids to get together so that they also know that they're not alone. They meet other kids that are like them, and they can form those relationships too.
Hello, my name is Joanne Coleman and I'm with Houston Chapter 38. I joined Mended Hearts in 1996 after one of my heart surgeries, and I started visiting in the year 2000. I think that we are very valuable to patients and their families because we've all been at this a lot of years. We celebrate 60 years as Chapter 38. And we have shown that and heard from people who we have visited that they have come home from the hospital and they had stayed home from the hospital when they were fighting something or when they were trying to get their life back, that we were there as a support because we tried to do some follow-up. And when our chapter started, that's exactly, we would have enough volunteers to call to see if they're okay. We offer, before COVID, of course, this is all before, the support group meetings that we invite patients to and their families so that they can also see other people in the same situations. So I think that that's where the value part of this is. And I think it's crucial. It's just crucial because as a heart patient, I can tell you those days in the hospital are very, very, very trying, to say the worst, and can be very depressing. So I think they wait till you're really depressed and then they send you home and there you are out there floundering. So this is why we are so important to be able to be that liaison and that contact. What I would like to say to people as we celebrate our 60th and to our members here, as well as to all Mended Heart members, I would like to say congratulations. It's been a journey for all of us. We have I have really received so much more out of it than I put into it. But please, as members, get involved. I know it's going to be different, but any way that you can get involved get involved with your chapter, get involved seeing how much the hospitals really, really like us and want us to be there. And remember that we all are important, every member, however we're going to contribute, every Mended Hearts member is important and a way to be able to pass on what started for us 60 years ago, what started for us as a legacy of hope to heart patients, and to let you all know that at St. Luke's, which they have supported us, has been the legacy I think that we need to pass on. So all I can say is congratulations, 60 years, Chapter 38. Thank you, Mended Hearts National, for being with us. Thank you.
So throughout the years, the fun of the Mended Hearts family has been getting together and learning together. We're here tonight virtually, but you know, we've been making lasting friendships that feel like family, smiling, laughing together and learning together. And we're always counting down the days till we're together again. That's the power of Mended Hearts. So sit back, relax, and enjoy these memories. understand that we could have never do what we do without the support of so many people. From our communities that support us to our partners we work with, we are grateful and thankful for each and every one of them. We want to thank them for their support. So now I'd like to celebrate with some words from some of our supporters, from the National Hockey League to our corporate partners and everyone in between. We have to say thank you. The first video, I have to tee up just a moment. This is from Jake Gensel, who is a Pittsburgh Penguin. And if you're a hockey fan, you know that Jake Gensel is a fabulous hockey player. But more importantly, off the ice, he is a huge supporter of Mended Little Hearts and has done so many fabulous things by bringing kids to the games and families to the games. And he was gracious enough to share a little bit about what a team means to him and how Mended Hearts and Mended Little Hearts are really kind of like, just like a hockey team.
All right, how has heart disease impacted you or anyone close to you?
My grandpa had heart problems over the years when he was getting older and passed away from a heart attack. So just for me, I think that's something that's hit home and something I wanted to bring here and try and bring it to life of people that maybe have gone through stuff like that.
What do you want the kids who are growing up with congenital heart disease to know?
Just that we're all in this together. I mean, they go through a lot, and if we're just putting a smile on their face and bringing them to the games and doing the little things like that, it means the world. So we just want to make them happy as much as we can.
And a team is a family. At Mended Little Hearts, we understand the power of support and the importance of a team. We never want these families to feel they are alone in their journey. Why is being a member of a team like the Pittsburgh Penguins or a member of Mended Little Hearts so important?
Well, it's always nice to know we have a team behind you, and I think for us as players to have the Penguins behind us, I think it feels good, and especially for these young kids that might be going through a tough time, to know they have a team with them, and hopefully they can triumph through it all and be this together with all of us.
Well, I want to tell them that we are so pleased that we have 70 years that we've been in Mended Hearts, and we can't give up. We have to go on. We want to grow. We want to get more chapters. We want to get more accredited visitors. So let's go on the 71st year and go fast and start growing, because it is a wonderful organization.
Hello, my name is Hilly Page, and I lead patient and professional advocacy relations at Aspirion Therapeutics. And on behalf of all of my colleagues at Aspirion, I would like to pass along our congratulations to the entire Mended Hearts team on this, your 70th anniversary. Truly amazing. And on this special occasion, I'd like to recognize two groups specifically at Mended Hearts. First of all, Ron Manriquez, Andrea Baer, Al Voss, and all of the members of the board of directors at Mended Hearts, who provide such great and strong leadership on a day-to-day basis for the organization. And secondly, and most importantly, all of the Mended Hearts volunteers who provide support and inspire hope for people when they are at their absolute most vulnerable after they've experienced a cardiovascular event. You know, it's amazing to think over the last 70 years how many lives have been positively influenced by Mended Hearts volunteers. And so on this, your 70th anniversary, once again, congratulations and thank you for all of your service.
Congratulations, Mended Hearts, for your 70 years of service, for being peer support for the cardiovascular disease community day in and day out at the bedside and those where they need it, and moving to virtual when the pandemic arose. Congratulations, and here's to 70 more years.
On behalf of Edwards Life Sciences, I want to thank Mended Hearts for many years of a fruitful partnership. Through innovative collaborations across the healthcare ecosystem, together we can improve the lives of heart disease patients. But the only way we can do this is if the patient truly has a seat at the table. And Mended Hearts has certainly earned it by fulfilling its important responsibility and role in empowering patients and representing the voice of millions from diverse communities across our country and across the lifespan of heart disease. I've personally been working with Mended Hearts for about 10 years, and I will always cherish the relationships I have made with staff, board leaders, and volunteer members alike as we've worked together for this important cause. There's something very powerful in patients helping patients, and Mended Hearts does it best. I have witnessed firsthand the impact of peer support in my role at Edwards working with valve patients. There simply is no substitute for speaking with someone who has been in your shoes. And I am in awe of your volunteers who overcome their own heart challenges and turn it into a positive source of strength and inspiration for those who are embarking on their own journey with heart disease. Peer support is, of course, the right thing to do for patients, but it has also been proven to have a measurable impact on readmissions and recovery outcomes, as we have seen. On behalf of Edwards, I would like to congratulate the entire Mended Hearts team and community on this significant milestone. We honor and celebrate you for an incredible 7 decades of sharing your knowledge and your hearts with patients, families, and so many of us in the healthcare profession. No matter what your role, you have made Mended Hearts what it is today, a trusted partner and a beacon of hope for so many. So as each of you reflects back on the legacy of Mended Hearts that you are an important part of, and that lives on in the countless lives you have touched, I sincerely hope you feel a deep sense of purpose, of pride, and accomplishment. Because important work like yours is never done, your friends at Edwards wish you at least 70 more years of continued success in your mission to help heart patients live their best lives. So congratulations and many thanks to everyone at Mended Hearts and Mended Little Hearts for all of your contributions. Thank you.
Congratulations, Mended Hearts, Mended Little Hearts, for 70 years of peer-to-peer support out in the community. Such an impressive program. It's got me in the program. I've been involved now for going on 10 years. My son got us involved with his issues when he was born at the heart. And it's been one thing to be a part of it. It's been another thing to be involved with it. And, you know, as I'm coming in this year as incoming vice president of Mended Little Hearts, I'm very excited for what's to come and what the future holds for Mended Little Hearts. And hopefully we've got another 70 years ahead of us and helping the community and helping a lot more patients and caregivers out there with the support and hope they need. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Bernie Clark, and I'm a member of the Medical Advisory Council for Mended Hearts. I would like to congratulate the organization on achieving 70 years of service to the field of cardiology, cardiothoracic surgery, patients, and all of those who care for patients. In my 35 years as the medical director of the cardiac rehab program at St. Francis Hospital in Hartford, I've had the opportunity and the honor and pleasure of working with our local Mended Hearts chapter for the duration. And I can tell you that although I've been able to talk to patients of mine over many, many years about what to expect going into a major surgical procedure, major cardiac procedure, something was always missing. While I could cover all the technical stuff, and I could actually give them a pretty good idea of what to expect on each day as they went through the recovery process, What was really missing was the ability for them to talk to a peer, somebody who had actually gone through the procedure themselves. And that's where Mended Hearts really comes in as a major support for the patients and their families, and also for those of us who took care of patients over the many years. We worked very closely with our local chapter. The leadership was always very supportive of our cardiac rehab program. In fact, many, if not most of them, went through the program either at our hospital or at another local hospital, and they encouraged people going through procedures to take part in cardiac rehab. So for that, we were eternally grateful. They were also very generous in helping to support our program, both with fundraising efforts, where they always had a very high profile, and also with donations to the program itself. So I think that the value that Mended Hearts brings to cardiology and cardiothoracic surgery is almost unmeasurable. And it's my sincere hope that the next 70 years are as great as the first 70 years have been. And I, again, would just love to congratulate the organization for its many, many years of incredibly valuable service. Thank you.
Hello and happy anniversary from Adam and the rest of the team at Madison Miles Media. Just wanted to give you guys a big thumbs up for some fantastic work. You guys have reached a lot of people, helped a lot of people, and continue to grow in a way that really is impressive. We're thrilled to be a part of it, and once again just wanted to say congratulations and happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary, Mended Hearts.
Oh, that was fun. All right, so now as we're starting to do some thank yous, I would just love to ask everybody who's available and on and listening to share your thank yous, share your thoughts, whatever you'd like to share about the 70 years in the chat box, because we would love to be able to print that chat box out and keep it just in memory of tonight and of this celebration. So please feel free to use the chat box. But would love to give some thank yous to our Share Your Heart sponsors. We so appreciate your support in this year-long program that we're running to really highlight the how we share our hearts with each other. And I also wanted to give a big thank you to all of our corporate sponsors. We work with the most amazing corporate sponsors, and our partners are so engaged and so amazing, and all of them are so dedicated to patient education and support, and they truly do care about our patients and their success. So thank you to all of you for doing what you do. We appreciate you partnering with us. We couldn't do it without you. So now I'd like to turn it over to President Ron Manriquez for a few words from Ron. Ron, are you there?
Hello, I'm Ron Manriquez, President of Mended Hearts Incorporated, and I have the pleasure of welcoming all of you to the 2021 Leadership Training. As you have heard, we've had 70 wonderful years, and this is a huge accomplishment. It is thanks to our wonderful volunteers, staff, and partners that have been able to do so much to inspire hope, improve the lives of patients across the lifespan, and their caregivers and families. Because we want to have another 70 years and more, we offer this leadership training to all of you, bringing in experts to train us, learning best practices from the volunteers in the field, and getting some updates from our staff and leaders. We hope you will find this informative, inspiring, and practical for use as a Mended Hearts or Mended Little Hearts leader, or to help you move into a leadership position with our organization. I've been honored to serve as president for the past 2 years, and I'm excited for the next 2 years and beyond. I've seen so many positive changes and a huge increase in our reach and effectiveness. I was encouraged by the way we were able to take a situation that could have shut us down, COVID-19, closing our visiting programs and chapter and group meetings, and use it as a pivot to create new programs that allowed us to continue our vital peer-to-peer support, which are ways to reach people. While there's nothing that replaces in-person connection, through our My Heart Visit program and Zoom meetings and conferences, we're able to reach more people regardless of geographic location. We can now even visit people who don't have the benefit of a chapter or group in their area. These new ways of connecting are here to stay, even as we get back to our in-person visits and meetings. One thing I've learned about Mended Hearts is that because what we do matters to so many, to hundreds of thousands of people each year, failure is not an option. This is why it is so exciting to see how many outstanding programs we have that support and educate. And now we are upscaling our advocacy so we can be more effectively drive towards policies, procedures, innovations, and research that benefit cardiovascular patients and their families. Thank you all for being here and for all you do to support Mended Hearts and Mended Little Heart. I know you'll enjoy the rest of our training sessions, ranging from talking about our new normal and field updates tomorrow to self-care and chair yoga on Monday. We also have a Sunday filled with professional training on telling your story, information about fundraising, best practices from some key leaders, and then our 2021 awards ceremony Sunday evening. You don't want to miss it. So congratulations to all of us on our 70th anniversary, and thank you for being part of this training. It is truly great to be alive and to help others. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ron. So here's to another 70 years of sharing our hearts. We appreciate you and we love what you're doing. And thank you so much for being on this ride with us. Just a couple of announcements before we wrap it up tonight. I don't know if we got the chat working. I hear there was a little chatter that the chat box was not working. So if it's not, I'm so sorry. I hope it is, so that we can hear your or see your celebratory remarks. But in the meantime, all of our anniversary merchandise is on sale through Wednesday, June 30th, during our leadership training for 30% off. So you're paying 70% of full price for the 70 years. Make sure you grab your merchandise. It's for sale in the marketplace. It's already discounted in there. If you haven't got any yet, now's the perfect time to buy it. If you already bought some, maybe you want to buy a couple more things for gifts. Make sure you check that out. And then our next session is tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern time, and that is the new normal. And that we will be talking about how we're going to get back to the new normal, because we don't think there's going to be an old normal anymore. So thank you all again for joining us this evening. And thank you for doing everything that you do on a day-to-day basis. We are so appreciative of you. And everyone, have a great night.